Look with me in the book of Genesis, chapter 8. We talked yesterday about the grace of God. We talked about the gifts that He gives that are to be shared. And that's such a wonderful instruction for us so that we see ourselves as a continual flowing provision of others because of God's provision to us. We see ourselves as part of the cycle of God's blessing to our world. And we talked about the manifold grace of God, the greatness of His grace. I want to show you another dimension of that because this is such an important detail as we consider the character of God that I want to really impact on you today because, my friend, there are so many Christians and certainly people of other religions who have no idea of the goodness, the generosity, the love of God. And this is the God that we share with others, the God of provision, the God of great grace, the God of love and forgiveness. He's a good God. He's not angry, He's not vengeful, He's not difficult to please. He's a God of great compassion. But I want to show you a dimension of the generosity of God and His greatness of grace toward people. These verses that I'm reading, chapter 8 of Genesis, we're reading verse 21 and 22, happens after the flood. After the waters of the flood destroyed all living things except for Noah and his family and the animals that were preserved. Now, after they were finished the flood, they were in discussion with God. Listen to these words. Verse 21, and the Lord smelled a sweet aroma. Noah had offered sacrifices to the Lord. And the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of people's hearts is evil from their youth. Nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. Listen to this, because this concerns you today. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. This is a promise of God made to a humanity that God knows very well will continue to sin, will continue to turn away from Him, will continue to ignore His commands, ignore His desire for partnership and friendship with them. But when you see the love and the greatness of God to make such a promise, why is He promising day and night, winter, summer, cold, heat, all of this seed time, harvest? Why? So that we will always have provision. The Scripture talks about the rain falling on the land of the just and the unjust. The sun rises over the just and the unjust. That's because of God's promise. You see, even when we veer away from God's perfect plan, He doesn't abandon us. He doesn't withhold the sunshine. He doesn't cease to allow the seasons to evolve so that there can be seed time and harvest. No. He has made a promise that maintains the motion of His provision for people even through the earth. So when you look at Genesis 8, especially verse 22, remember that God's promise is to always provide whatever is necessary to sustain you. He loves you. If He would make this promise in the Old Testament, my friend, His promise through Christ under the new covenant to you is such a better covenant, a better promise. He will never withhold His blessings. He will never change His mind about you. He will never stop loving you. He will never stop including you. He will continue to come to you and rescue you in your time of need. I would like to challenge you today. If God can make this kind of commitment even to people who are not dependable, how much more can you and I make a fresh commitment to the Lord to say, Lord, because You are so much more faithful than we are. We will never turn away from you. We will never stop trusting you. We will never stop depending on you, allowing you to be the Lord of our lives. Take that as your fresh commitment today and live in the confidence that God is providing for you.